There's three things you need to be successful in property: money, time, and knowledge. If you have all three, then you're gonna fly. More chances are. If you have one of those, you can do something. So if you have time on your hands, but you got no money or no knowledge, then you've got time to get the knowledge.
I moved at what, 21? Yeah.
I'm gonna argue and say that it was a good and a bad thing. The amount of money you could have saved, and that's the big issue I think we have in our community, is that we feel that we're almost ridiculed for not being at home.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I use my Asian brethren. He's 37. He didn't move out to the age of 34. Okay? Obviously, if you don't get on with your parents, it's bad. We want the freedom which we can't do. Especially, I don't know in everyone's household, but being Nigerian, you're not bringing. It's mainly sex. You're not bringing it. You're not bringing a girl home. It's just been doing it. Like, obviously, I'm not saying it's different for other communities, but I'm gonna talk for mine.
You bring your bridges home.
Like for me, I remember the first time I brought a girl home. Yeah. My mum told me to leave the door open. I said, Mum, this girl's coming around. She said, no, the door must remain open. I said, what do you mean? The door is not closing. That door must not shut.
Have you got this one? Tell that dirty girl to get out of my house. Tell that dirty girl to get out of my house right now. I was like, oh
So
shit.
you moved at 21.
She didn't greet me.
She didn't greet me.
Bring her back down.
I know about. See, this is the thing. I moved out, then
Because you was abroad.
and then I moved back in.
Okay.
No, this time I was buying property.
To rebuild. You moved back into rebuild.
I bought it to rebuild, yeah.
Yes.
So that was the thing. So I had the place, and I was like, man, I'm just here. I was alright there. I could have stayed there, but I knew I wanted to buy more.
Okay.
So what I did is I moved home, rented it out.
Okay.
Obviously, had a second income. So
When did you first move out initially, though? What age? When you said that you fled the nest, as in whether you went back or not, what age did you actually move out?
Oh, so about 32, 33.
32, 33. And yourself?
21. 21, yeah.
Did you not feel like? What was the main reason for you moving out?
Yeah, no, I couldn't live at home anymore.
Look how much peas you would have saved. Not saying that it didn't make you more resilient, but think of the amount of peas you would have saved by staying at home with your parents.
I didn't.
You don't think so?
No, we wouldn't have.
Because you're still paying all the rent, paying electric, paying gas. Because
Yeah, African family is still paying a
Yeah,
contribution.
because I was paying rent at
But
home.
not even only that.
I was paying rent. My dad was charging me rent for
The
a
reason,
room.
no, you know
So
the
I'm
reason.
like, why am I gonna stay here, pay rent with all these
that's another
rules?
conversation for another video.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go pay rent elsewhere.
But why not supporting? Because my thing is, why not support and help the house?
Yeah.
No, it's important to help the house, but you see how you said you save.
Independence.
You won't save because remember when Dave left out at 21, 22. Remember when you used to see me out at 21, 22? What was I doing all the time? Popping.
Yeah.
So they was dealing with bills. I was doing guy.
So would you advise a 22
No,
to
but-
stay at home and move out?
I would advise them to stay at home. I would.
To save the money?
Yeah, if
they
you're
can.
thinking about saving money, but then also, I'd advise a 21. But when Moise moved out, he moved out into his property that he bought. So you moved out.
At what age? Wow.
Yeah, so he bought.
Wow.
So he didn't just move out.
Let me get someone 19. I mean, 21.
31,
Wow.
31, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been shot from early.
21. You're doing bad gang. I tell you too. You're doing bad gang.
Please, can you show your
You're
mom?
doing bad gang. And you have a friend like this. And you're doing bad gang. Wow.
But you know it's a good point what you're saying, yeah. And I think it's about discipline at the end of the day. Do you understand? So remember, I had to stack up the peas as well. And you know, when people were enjoying traveling, this and that, I didn't do all that. Do you understand?
21.
So I was stacking.
Okay, did you have like an older friend or somebody who kind of? So, but no, I mean, like, so who? Like, sometimes someone has to kind of plant the seed. You just woke up one day and said, I want to buy a flat.
Honestly, he knows, bro.
Yeah.
Literally.
He knows. That's my
But I
cousin.
think part of his, because he's the oldest in it out of like 5 brothers.
Yeah.
So he's always had that responsibility from early and that foresight to like go out and get. And he was always like, you know, hustling from early. So I think like when everyone else was buying like compressors and that, he was just driving his Calm T garage. You know what I mean? Stacking his money.
Can you remember how much you have to put down?
I don't know what 20. Like 20k?
Yeah, it was 140.
Man, 20k.
50%, wasn't it?
Yeah, like 20 something k I put down.
Yeah, 140.
You understand? So
so it was like 20k.
yeah, and we touched on it before. You know, I bought it for 147. It was a repossession at the time. It was worth about 2 something.
So how did you get? How did you know that was a deal? What I'm trying to get is that, like,
I didn't know.
so literally,
That's what I'm saying to you.
not saying it was a fluke, but you kind of just thought,
Yeah.
let me just try this.
Exactly.
And then when you bought it, you was like, right, I've got 60, 70 grand equity in this already.
100%.
And then you did small refurb.
But that's what I'm saying. If I had the knowledge then, I would have utilised that lot quicker. Do you understand? But I didn't. I used that much later on in my journey.
So while everyone was doing compressor and doing Mercedes, you had property. So while you was looking broke on the road, everyone was doing compressor and GTI.
Don't let him try and cap. Do not cap. Do not cap, because he was out. He was outside still. He was fully outside.
So would you say that was your turning point? Would you say that you doing that? Not saying you wouldn't have had other opportunities later on. Would you say that was a turning point for you getting that one property, getting on the ladder?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, it's that property, and then the Brixton one after.
Oh, you got Brixton too?
I went Brixton.
Wow.
Wow. I Brixton.
Wow.
I went back to Lewisham.
Did you see the smile? You said Brixton. Did you see the smile? Look, you can't stop smiling now. Wow. Wow. You're in Brixton.
That's a big one, bro. But yeah,
Wow.
This guy.
He said good life. He said good life.
Fantastic.
And what was the turning point was for you? And what would you say at the point when you said, right, this was like when you knew that this is working now? Like, what was the deal or the thing for you that you got into and you said like, right, like when you use chest to say I'm into property now, I'm into it. Like I'm in property. Now you can talk with your chest and now say, I think I know what I'm doing.
I mean, I think I know what I'm doing. I think I got to that point. You never know fully what you're doing. You're always learning, innit? Like, you still make mistakes today. I still make mistakes till today, and you have people around you that you can reach out to. But I think, so unlike Muiz, I started property doing the rent-to-rent strategy. So I was doing rent-to-rent from like 2016, and that's how I got into it. And then I bought my first property the year after. But I think maybe after buying my first property, that maybe gave me some confidence. But I think after I had like 10 rent-to-rent deals, because once you do something multiple times, you get more confident. So it's just in doing it more and more, you get more confident, you get more experience, and you can say, do you know what, yeah, I can now help other people to do it. So I think when I first started helping other people to get into doing rent-to-rent, that's when it kind of gave me the confidence that, do you know, yeah, I know what I'm doing there. But in terms of buying property, I know what I'm doing, but I don't know everything. So there's multiple strategies in property, multiple different strategies how you can.
So roughly, how many rent-to-rents do you have now at the moment, roughly? Roughly.
He said he's got loads. About 15. About 15.
So
yeah.
how did COVID affect that?
Massively, yeah. I mean, I lost about 2-3 properties last year.
You still pay the rent, right?
Of course, yeah. And I was saying earlier when we first came in, I was asking Stafford. It's tragic, man. It can be tragic, and it is. It's difficult. Like, there's a lot of rooms empty, loads of people losing their jobs.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest time. I get loads of people reaching out to me, help me get into rent-to-rent. Oh, I see you doing your thing in rent-to-rent.
Yeah.
COVID has affected it massive, especially in London. Like, everyone's left London. You know what I mean? London's been hit hard by COVID, not just like the restaurants and everything else. Property as well, even flats. People in flats have left. Loads of people have
said that
left.
your main field is obviously you're doing other things. Property. When you say rent-to-rent is kind of like your forte. Obviously other things, but
it was. Yeah, I think now because of COVID, I'm starting to transition because. As an entrepreneur, when you see danger, you kind of need to learn how to pivot.
What's entrepreneur?
As somebody who's a business person, innit? You kind of need to learn to. So I've had to adapt, and I've saw the opportunity in moving on from rent to rent and progressing my property journey into actually developing and investing and buying, you know, sites like Muiz and stuff like that. So I'm kind of like not looking to grow my rent to rent portfolio anymore, and it's just more about focusing on building up your portfolio.
So when you say you use that initially to get the capital then, so basically rent to rent kind of helped to build the capital for you to get
in a way.
Not saying that wasn't the real word, but to now get to the big boy.
No, rent to rent, yeah, is good for, because I don't even think rent to rent can help you build up your capital. I think it helps you with your cash flow. So for me anyway, it's helped me have a good standard of living, a good cash flow that I don't have to worry about day-to-day stuff. Then I can focus on looking for money to borrow or acquiring big money to do big deals. Rent to rent takes care of like your house, your cars or whatever.
So you kind of say that rent to rent is now kind of like your salary, like what you
exactly. So if you want a good cash flow, exactly. Okay. That's what rent to rent is. It's not to build a pot of savings for 100 grand to go and buy a house. It's not really that. You need to find something else to do to build up those big pots. In my opinion, anyway, I think rent to rent is a cash flow strategy. So if you want to have good cash flow to take care of the baseline living and good quality of life, then yeah, rent to rent. But then if you want to build wealth, then yeah, you need to do other things in business, maybe set up a restaurant or whatever, something that brings good capital, and then you can pump that into property. I'd say, your job, savings, whatever.
Okay, when you said at 30, you moved out at 32, you said, but you went back in again.
Well, I moved out.
Yeah.
Before that, so I moved out. I don't know, about 26. Moved into my property.
As a property you bought?
Yeah.
Okay.
We moved to our property.
How long was you saving for to get that property?
I don't know, about
what was the
2
deposit?
3 years.
What was the
Deposit was around 15 grand.
15 grand, so that was basically just over about 5 grand a year you had to save, which is probably like
Yeah,
£500
but
a month.
like I say, it helped. I parked it in like a stocks and shares ISA, and at the time it did pretty good.
Okay.
So it helped to acquire obviously a bit more. I was saving roughly around £600-700 a month.
Did you have to sacrifice to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're definitely, because obviously you're putting them at the time of your salary when you was working for a company, you're putting aside obviously a big chunk. So always, I was like reading books. I think, like I said, these guys touched on education, and I truly believe in like paying yourself first. Like seriously, any money that I have coming in, I'm giving it to myself first before I do anything. Anything goes anywhere, I'm getting my money first. Then everyone else can obviously get theirs. So that's very important. So I just use that strategy in terms of what I actually believe, and obviously just part the money up.
Okay, so when you said you went back into your family home or whatever, okay, that was to now build more capital to now do the next project, which was what?
See, what I was finding, I could rent this place out. It was supplementing obviously paying the mortgage, and obviously it was providing obviously a little bit of additional income. And the very fact that you had that first one, it allowed me to obviously leverage it after a while. After 2 years, I was able to take some equity out of that one and then proceed to go part of
Was that remortgaged?
Yeah, so I remortgaged it obviously because it went up in value. So I managed to take a little percentage out of it, take that money and then go acquire another property.
And that was when you finally moved back into then move
Yes, I was still living at home there.
Okay, so what you did then, you then went technically backwards, okay, to kind of, so as some would say you've gone back home, to then rebuild again, to then move forward. So you would say that was probably the best decision you made at that point, to go back to rebuild.
Because at the time it was only for a short while I moved in there, and it made me, and this is the thing, because you can, listen, some people may be happy working a 9 to 5 or whatever, work
And
for
there's nothing wrong with
someone.
that. Let's just
If that's what you want to do,
like 9 to 5, there's nothing wrong with that.
or even work for someone else, that's fine. Like, if that's what you want to do.
Because it's not easy to do,
Not
to
everyone-
be self-employed. Not everyone has it.
Not everyone's built to do their own thing. That's straight up. It's a very small percentage. Not everyone's built up to do that.
And that's the misconception. Like, we're still working. You're still working. You're still working. You're still working. And your phone's going off constantly. Tenant ringing you at 1 AM in the morning, the boiler's not working. Come in now, you prick. Come and fix the boiler now, prick.
I think that when you're working for yourself as well, you got to put in so much more effort and time just to make sure that you're getting, you know, what you want out of it.
Yeah, so back to what you were saying now about, so when you went to the new property you then got, when you moved back into your parents, you had to save how much for that deposit wise? Because you said you took equity out.
Oh man.
So explain that.
See, this is the thing, because,
remortgage part.
well, just over time, like it happened, like prices have gone up.
Yeah.
So I mean, I went to obviously just looked around certain estate agents, saw what they were actually selling for. I realised that it may have gone up. Contacted a broker, got them to come back in. They give a valuation. I was managed to get an 80% mortgage, so that gave me, I don't know, roughly around 18 grand or something like that in terms of money I could take out.
Okay, so
Payment slightly went up.
out of the property,
Yeah.
basically. Okay.
My repayments for my mortgage went up because I was borrowing more money.
Okay, cool.
Which I had to cope with, but it was still enough to, obviously, to cover the mortgage in terms of the tenants that were paying, and I parked that money into another property. So
Okay, so that's basically going backwards in a sense, and now enabled you to get another property, and then you use the equity in the first property to now get your next property.
yeah.
Okay.
So that was a little bit of like the old method on how we acquire property. Now you got to be a little bit more creative.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? In terms of what you're doing, like for example, these guys have touched on the different strategies. But in addition to that, that can't be your only source of income. So I would advise you not to park all your eggs in that one basket.
So, as in what can't be the only form of income? Sorry.
In terms of rent to rent, because some people think, I can quit my job, do this rent to rent full time, da 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 da. I think it's quite important that you actually need to have whatever job that you're doing. I don't know whether you're skilled in something, whatever you may be doing. Maintain and keep that bread and butter coming in.
Okay, so you've got a job outside of this.
Yes.
Okay, so this is like your passive income. Then you've got your active
I'm just
income.
talking about when you're growing up. Now
so
I'm
now
cool
you're
now.
property now.
Yeah. I'm cool.
Okay,
I'm cool.
okay.
I'm straight.
Okay.
I'm straight. And that's what I'm saying. So when you actually got enough, acquire enough obviously money coming in, and you can actually do your thing. And most people think, when it's enough, when you got enough of your side hustles enough to cover your regular income, that's what you should literally. I think you should be looking to double.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Double what your regular payments get you in.
On that, I think what Stafford's saying as well, and in terms of the position that we're in as well, is that we're making money from the properties that we own anyway, and we're doing the rent to rent. Does that make sense? So technically, that's our job.
Okay,
You know what I'm
so
saying?
basically the rent trade is your job technically, and you're making money from the properties that you own as the rent making coming from them.
Yeah, so the properties that we own anyway,
Yeah.
we're making money from that.
Yeah.
And also got the rent to rent business as well, making
Yeah.
money from that as well. I'm not just doing rent to rent by itself.
Okay, yes.
Do you understand? So in terms of, if you're just doing rent to rent by itself and you're trying to build up that pot of money, it's gonna be very difficult because, as we know,
especially if you're trying to grow your rent to rent business. Because remember, once you take on one rent to rent, it typically takes about 6 to 8 months to break even. And then to make your money back that you've invested. Remember, you were doing the numbers earlier that you could get one property, it costs about 4 or 5 grand, let's say, yeah. Before you make that back, it's probably 6 to 8 months if all goes well. It could take a year some cases. And then if you want to get a next one, you got to pump another 4 or 5 grand into that next one. And so if you're growing your rent, so you're going to get to one point where you're going to stop and then just start enjoying the money. But if you're growing the business, you have to keep reinvesting. It's like any business. So you're not really going to see that money if that's all you're relying on. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that's the point they're saying. Have other streams if you want to do other stuff, or if you want to even grow, you got to start learning other things like borrowing money. That's one thing that we got to start teaching the young kids, how to borrow money to be able to borrow money from institutions, borrow money from people around you, wisely and honestly as well. Do you know what I mean? Like not even just for property. A lot of people could do a lot of things if they know how to borrow money from institutions and even just simply from your friends and family. A lot of people don't know how to do that basic thing. Like if I wanted to start up maybe a shisha business or whatever, some people think shit, I've got to go and work 12 months to 2 years to save up 10 grand to start my shisha business. You don't have to. If you've got the idea and it's a good business, you can leverage the people around you, sell the idea and borrow the money and pay them back in a short space of time. Do you know what I mean? So there's all sorts of things.
It's the thing about good debt. You know, there's such thing as good debt. Not everything borrowing is bad debt at the end of the day. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just understanding that, and like I said, when I first started out, I just wanted to sort of pay off everything, and that's the wrong mindset. I'm leveraging, compounding, and that's it.
And how do you deal with tenants not paying rent? So for instance, how many months is it before you can actually legal way? Because I've got friends who just change a lot of scout. So how have you dealt with tenants who don't pay?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't had an issue with
a good run then.
Yeah, I've had a good run. Do you understand? I've heard some horror stories. Yeah. Do you understand? I don't know if anyone wants to cover them sort of stories here, but I haven't had those issues personally. I've had other issues with tenants, and you just deal with it in a professional manner. Yeah. That's like the main thing that someone always asks me. Yeah. So you're in property, so what about the tenants that don't pay no rent? And the thing about it is obviously you have the contracts in place, you have everything in place. As long as you've done everything that you're meant to do, give them the gas certificate, all those sort of things first, that process should be a lot easier. Do you understand? Well, I say easy, but depends on who you're dealing with at the end of the day. And I think obviously during the pandemic, things have been a bit more difficult as well. Yeah. People are losing their jobs and stuff like that. And it's about communicating and understanding that we're all in the same boat. So I didn't have an issue with someone not paying no rent, but they get in contact with me and say, you know what, it's been a bit hard because I've lost my job, and we come to some sort of agreement.
So instead of paying maybe the $12.50, I'll give you a bag and then we can work it out.
And I prefer that. Yeah. Instead of not calling me at all, and I'm checking on the first, and there's nothing in there. I'm like, what's going on here? Do you understand? So communication is key, 100%. Because at the end of the day, property is a people's game. You're dealing with your customers who are your tenants. You got to keep them good because they're paying you. Yeah. If you don't fix some of the issues in the house, or there's something, they're gonna be resentful, and then they're gonna go, and then they might not pay no rent.
Okay, so someone's trying to get into property, you would say do a bit of research, maybe work in the business itself, so maybe in a construction firm or in an estate agent 100%. Or somewhere that's in the field, 100%. And then building the capital. Would you go as far as saying rent to rent is a good, if you've got the capital, let's say maybe 5 grand around you, maybe you say that's probably a good way to maybe get into property, because you're now into property.
I would say as well, doing your research, it will show you some other different ways of acquiring money in property. Another thing you can do is deal source. You can find opportunities for investors like myself, and we'll pay you a fee. Okay. So that could be a fee of 3K, 5K. The deal's really, really juicy, and then you can sort of stack up the pieces like that. Do you understand? Because
so there's ways to get into property. There's ways to get into property. So that idea you need money to get into property is wrong.
There's 3 things you need to be successful in property: money, time, and knowledge. If you have all 3, then you're gonna fly. More chances are. If you have one of those, you can do something. So if you have time on your hands, but you got no money or no knowledge, then you've got time to get the knowledge, or the time to do things that people that don't have the time need done.
Hence deal sourcing, for instance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and if you have the knowledge, yeah, and you ain't got time or money, you know what to do. Find somebody who's got the time, and then you can apply that knowledge. So even if it's not just rent to rent, even if it's big deals, there's people out there that they're not doing rent to rent. They don't have no money, but they know they've got the knowledge of what makes a good deal in property. They can find a nice HMO, negotiate it with the landlord because they've got good people skills, get it for a bargain price, and they'll come to someone like Moise and say, look, I've just sourced this wicked deal in Lewisham, yeah, from the landlord. She's willing to take 20% below market value because she's desperate to sell the house. Yeah. She's willing to complete straight away if you can come up with the funds. Yeah. Do you want to do it together? I'll bring the deal, you bring the funds. You're in property, do you know what I mean? So if you could say knowledge is quite key.
It's your network of people. You don't need money.
Exactly. So doing the research, you can get the network because there's, especially in this information age, social media age, you can network really quickly, really fast if you know what you're doing. But the most important thing is getting the knowledge, using everything that's available out there to you. If you've got the knowledge to spot a good opportunity, if you haven't got the money, somebody out there's got the money, and somebody will definitely either pay you for it or they will joint venture with you and say, do you know what? I like that deal. I'll pay for it. You bring it to the table and you do all the running around because I'm paying for it, and you're in property.
For someone who's trying to get into getting an investment property, what would you say is the key foundation points of what they'll need? Like, what would be the key checkpoints that they'll have to go through?
Well, definitely understand in terms of what you want to achieve in terms of the property location. Ideally for your first one, I think you should get something at least within an hour's drive from where you live.
At the moment, just checking up London from the Guardian in 20th of January 2021, they said the average price of a home in London was up by 9.7% to a record of 514,000.
Big money, big money, big money. Yeah, but just bear in mind that just, you know what I mean, that's every property from the 100 million property you probably have on somewhere North London, wherever it is.
Hampstead,
you know, to somewhere like a studio flat in Croydon or something like that, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So definitely in terms of finding the right location, if you're buying a property now, I definitely would set up a company. Along with that, because no matter whether or not you set a company today, you can go buy a property tomorrow in the company's name, so that's not really an issue. Definitely have good credit. It's very important. If you've got any outstanding debts or what's it? CCJs or anything like that, 100% get them sorted out. Sorted out. Any phone bills you haven't paid from back in the day, go get them sorted out. Like, look at your credit score. So seriously, the most important thing is actually looking at your credit score. Pay Experian, that $40.99 a month. Do you know what I mean? And keep on tackle your credit score. You need to have an A1 credit score when it comes to lending. Make sure you've got the cash reserves in place. Understand on what you want to do, because it's not so much of, you know, you look to go into add value, you look to rent out straight away, you look for something that's finished. Obviously see if you can tag along with, obviously Moise's got projects going on or online, so I try to see if you can tag along with anybody that you can get online to see what they're actually doing, to get some ideas, to get an idea of what they're doing, so you'll be able to roughly gauge and see what the costs are. Have a good broker, A1, they look after you. Have a good solicitor, because when you need stuff done, they need to get it done. It's all about building. Listen, about property, you need to build relationships. 100%. Once you've established a good relationship with people, I'm not saying it's flying easy,
but it makes it a lot easier than what it could be.
Seriously, because I've done a deal where I've seen a property and I've bought it within 14 days. That's, you know what I mean? And that's without cash. That's getting lending. I haven't got the cash, but it's me getting lending. So that involved obviously my solicitor being on point, my broker being on point. You know what I mean? Me being on point, everyone being on point.
What sort of deposit do you need for this sort of investment?
It's like 25%.
25%.
So you can need like a 25% mortgage. 75 to 70% is what the lenders are typically giving you in terms of actually doing it. So definitely build good relationships. Obviously have your company ready. Be a people's person. Have your deposit aside, and
who are all the major key players in actually getting a property? So you've got solicitor. Can you just name all the key players involved?
Well, it depends on where you're looking. I mean, obviously you got Rave, but I definitely would sorry, I know we haven't touched on this, but build up some relationship with some good estate agents. Seriously, you need to build some relationship. That's, like I say, it's all about relationship, because they're the ones that obviously you're gonna typically have the first obviously knowledge of any potentially property deals that are going on.
So 25% that current London average is, let me do the math in my head.
125?
128,500.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. 125.
That's not okay.
You know what?
That's life for him. He put 200 bags down the other day. Sorry, that's like. Please, yes.
Hey, wait.
The humble smile.
Hey, quick plug. That's right.
The humble smile.
That's why
The
he's
humble smile.
in the late key.
200 bags. Wow.
Wow.
But you know when they talk
Wow.
about the 100 bags. No, but just to touch on that, yeah. So just touch on that. Your numbers are very important. Knowing your numbers, you know. Before you get into any deal, know how much you're buying it for. Know how much you're putting it down. How much you're putting down. Knowing how much value you're gonna add to it. Knowing how much you're gonna pull out. You know, for me personally, I guess there's different investors. I'm trying to get deals below market value, where I could add value and take out every single pound out of that, and then just cash flow it every single time. You do your numbers wrong, then it's
Okay, so you're more of the buying, fixing it, selling it, get the money out straight away.
I don't sell. I hold.
Oh, you always hold.
I hold. Yeah.
Okay, so the one that you bought, the first one you wanted, you sold that.
Everything I bought, I still got it
So
right
wait,
now.
the one, how old are you now?
I'm what, 37 now.
So wait,
37
that
now. Yeah.
property you
Can't
bought
remember.
16 years ago, you still own it now.
Yeah, I got it.
Fantastic.
Wow! Hey!
It's like you've never sold a property.
No, that's
Have you remortgaged it?
yeah, many times over.
Yeah.
Many times over. That's what you do. That's what you do. And you know it is. It's just.
You've never sold a property.
You know it's
That's
just
mad.
like as
Everything he's bought is kept.
as the value goes up, you
take the
recycle.
money
You take the money out.
It's tax efficient.
It's like you take the money out. And yeah, it's tax
And I
efficient.
like the good thing where you guys are saying that you're taking the money out and putting it straight back in.
Yeah,
Taking it
100%.
out, so it's not a case of doing this, that. No,
No, it's
this
not.
money's for that. So I've got 50 grand now out of it.
Yeah.
No problem. I used to buy another one.
Yeah, yeah.
That's now acquired another 80 grand. So basically, it's like you're just refiltering the money in, out, and the money's going up. It's going up. It's going up.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I feel like I want to live life a bit, but I put the money back in, get that cash flow, and then use the cash flow to do what you need to do. Do you understand?
Exactly, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Certain strategies.
Like I mentioned, you know, your car, your property where you live, you know, your day-to-day
Holidays.
that's paying for that. Do you understand? So it's not you technically taking money out of your own pocket. The assets are paying for everything. Do you know what I'm saying?
Assets are paying for your liabilities. Shout out to your last video.
You always negotiate a deal at the beginning, not the end. Remember. Get your money, sort your profit margins out at the beginning, not the end.
No, that's the true. You make the money when you buy.
Say that again. So
So that you make the money when you buy the property at the beginning. So in terms of
Buy it right.
if you buy it right,
okay,
that's
yeah.
when you make the money.
Okay.
Do you
Buy the
understand?
right type of property, you buy it at the right price. Those are the keys. So it's not even just the price, buying the right type of property for what you're doing. So like Moise's deal that he's doing now, he bought the right type of property. Not every property you can get to do
It's gonna work.
convert into a 6-bed HMO. Do you know what I mean?
The space,
yeah.
location,
So
you know.
you buy the right price
So
and
what-
the type of property.
So the one you're doing now, so is a 6-bed HMO. So it was initially how many beds? Initially advertised.
It's literally a 4-bed.
So 4-bed.
Yeah.
Okay. So 4-bed.
Yeah.
Okay, you paid how much for it?
437.
437.
Yeah.
And you're converting it into a 6-bed.
6-bed HMO.
Okay, HMO. So the mortgage on that is
So
roughly.
so. No.
What you guys here?
I'm gonna say.
I don't need this negativity in my life. I don't need to do that.
All you need to know, the end value on this property is gonna be 850.
So 437, and how long is it going to take you roughly to finish this whole thing, this project?
We're gonna be done in 3 weeks.
So and from when you got it, and you got the land registry on there,
Yeah.
to when you're finishing it, it'll be done in 3 weeks.
No,
started already.
sorry, I've started already.
So I mean, so let's talk about
So-
how long is it going to take?
So
So how long has it taken? Or will
So-
it take?
the whole refurb is gonna take about 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what I'd done anyway before I purchased the property, because this was a direct to vendor,
Okay.
I applied for planning. I'll be smiling in about 3 weeks, hopefully. Yeah.
No, but the reason why I want this in there is so that those who are young that are on the road,
Yeah.
they can see that there are completely other ways to make money
to make
than
money.
running
Than
around doing
running
bad gang.
around.
I think there's a lot of people who, the biggest problem we have is that because we watch so much music videos and stuff, we feel that if you don't adorn yourself in wealth, you don't have money. Whereas some of you guys are brokering deals and doing deals where in maybe 1 year, you've maybe amassed plus minus tax, let's just call it 200 bags. That's within 1 year. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's like not saying that you're not building aeroplanes. Not saying it's not hard what you're doing, but you're not building aeroplanes. Which means that
For example, the cash flow on this particular property itself is, you know, in terms of what you'll get monthly, a lot of people can live on that.
Of course,
Just on that one, just that one deal. Do you understand? So you know, if you're doing one of those every year, you're nice.
And also as well, that a lot of the times I think these young lot are thinking that at 22, 23 they've failed. You gotta remember, you're 30, how old? 37. And would you say that you're still learning, but it's taking, but you're still growing, but it's not. It didn't happen at 21. Even though you built the foundation at 21, it's finally now where you're kind of like finally enjoying. You know, it's enjoyment.
No, I would say, to be honest with you, I would say in the last 4 years, 5 years, I've been active.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I'll say I've been coasting a lot. I bought properties. I was happy with the money I was getting. I was cool, but I didn't push it to the next level.
Yeah.
Last 5 years, I said, you know what? I'm changing up, pushing it to the next level. I'm doing bigger deals. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And there's more to come. Do you understand? You know, there's more to come. Hopefully, land.
Always leveling up.
You know, hopefully, commercial to resi. We was talking about that before. You know, so there's so many different ways of making money in this property game. Do you understand? And it's about knowing that it's accessible to everyone. Do you understand? It's not. I wouldn't say it's easy, but as long as you sort of like, for me, I'm an open book.
Would you say that three of you have got two things in common, being sacrifice and discipline, that has allowed you to get to where you are? Would you say those? How important would you say those two things? Have you sacrificed a lot to finally get to where you say you are? And would you say discipline has played a huge part? Would you say that those two things are not?
I think in terms of like discipline, sacrifice, I mean, not so much. I think it's actually determination in terms of what you want to achieve. It's up to you, you know. Nobody's going to obviously get up and, you know what I mean, walk you through this yourself. You have to get up and do it.
That's going to hold your hand.
Like it's
Let's go get it properly.
what you want to achieve. Like I said to you, if some people want to get a particular job and that's what they want to do and they're happy earning that 37 average salary if they're in London or wherever it may be, great. You know, you carry on renting because you can still rent, you can pay your bills, you've got enough money to go on holiday. You can go on living your life like that and there's nothing wrong with that. Cool. But if you want to, like, you've got kids and you want to leave something to them so they don't have to worry about all that kind of stuff, because people will say, you know, money doesn't make you happy but solves problems and it makes life easier, you know. So that's the key thing. And what you actually touched on in terms of like kids out there going on road and doing what they're doing, the amount of energy it kind of takes them to, like I said, I'm not involved in the whole drug business or whatever it is, but there's a structure. Regardless of what you do, you have to go somewhere. You have to pick up your product, break it down, then go out and redistribute to if there's some other people you got working under you, or direct to your customers. You get your money, and all you're doing, you're leveraging.
There's no difference.
You're just leveraging. So that same energy that you're trying to put in whatever drugs you do, and then make it worse. If you mess up at the end of the day, you could have your opposition trying to come after you, or you could have the police. So you're always looking over your back. When you're doing stuff the legal way, you're good. You're nice. And you can sleep at night. You don't have to worry about anything. And then when you keep going, it's a snowball effect. And then stuff starts to come your way. So
Basically, you're saying put the same energy you put into road activity into a legal form of stream like what you guys are doing, and you're still going to reap the rewards the same way.
And you know this as well, because when you speak to a lot of these young guys that are in that field, a lot of them will say, you know, they don't see themselves working a 9 to 5, they don't see themselves working at X, Y, and Z. They want to work for themselves. Hence the reason why they're, do what they're doing. And I guess it's, you know, property and there's other things as well. Gives you the opportunity to be your own boss and do certain things your own way, on your own time. So, you know, it's definitely a good option.
The work for yourself, that's definitely. Well, if you want to get into real estate, of course, I mean, that's definitely something you can do, because you set your own schedule. It's like there's no set times.
They say, what time do you wake up in the morning?
I get up at 6.
What time do you get up?
About 5, man.
What time do you get up?
6. 5.
Yeah, I get up around 6, 5:30. I'm not a morning person.
And that's what I'm saying, but when you get up, you do a cup of tea.
I have to. I've got things to do, so it's better I get out the way early. You know what I mean? But I realised over the past year, especially since lockdown, I've changed my sleeping pattern. Because before I was a very, very late sleeper, but now most times don't phone me after 10. You're getting air. You're getting air, don't do it. But no, it's a thing that this was needed, because I needed to show like a lot of these younger ones different routes out to make the kind of money they want to make. That it's not always trap. Every man has come through those kind of lines at one point in their life, or know someone who's, you know what I mean. But it's not always the way. Like I said, like my circle, like earlier on before we spoke on camera, like my circle of friends, it varies from professional football players, ex-football players, ex-basketball players, musicians, property guys, plumbers, electricians, but everyone's kind of doing well. Bar owners, club, you know what I mean. Everyone's kind of pushing each other along, and when you see that, and we've got a few men who are still on the roads, and one of my brethren, I'm trying to get him to set up a business. I don't even want to say it so that anyone can figure out who it is that's still on road. But I said to him, if I push that idea for you, I said, right, no word of a lie, you're gonna probably make more than I make from PT and from that business, but it's a thing that I already seen you doing it, and I already seen you enjoying it. So I'd rather you doing it, because I know I'm not gonna enjoy it. The money's gonna be good, but I know if it was me, I'm gonna hate it, and eventually I'm gonna quit. So it's best I focus on what I'm good at, that I like, and help support you in that to, you know what I mean, get the whole team off the road, so that when I'm in your car, I'm not.
I totally agree with that. And the thing about it's about inspiration. It's about your team, who's around you. And for me, I'm inspired every day, bro. Like, you know, when I see yourself, see what you're doing, I'm seeing what other people are doing around me. For me, that's what makes me say, okay, I need to do more. Do you understand? I need to step my game up. I need to do this. I need to do that.
Another jam-packed episode. A lot of information on property. Hope you lot like this one. Feature my boys, Staff, Moise, Gabriel, and Farid. And yeah, see you in the next one.